Hello, 3 First Division games today involving London clubs, and with them 11 goals. 3 England internationals as our big match guests. That's how we line up today. For our main match, we bring you West Ham against Manchester City.
Peters and Best! No! No! Will Stevenson do it? No!
Coventry City against the Spurs.
By Tony Want. Remember, Clements used to be a winger. Good cross ball. Chance for Hunt. Boom!
Manchester United against Chelsea.
Aston still. Best. Put it past.
Our studio guest is Jeff Hurst of West Ham, and we also talk to the Manchester City pair, Francis Lee and Colin Bell, both in action at Upton Park yesterday. Also a complete slow-motion breakdown of the main talking points of the game, but now let's make a start at Upton Park. West Ham against Manchester City, and when you think of pure footballing skills, your thoughts are often directed towards these two clubs. But they've gone in different directions this season. And although West Ham again feel an unchanged side, they've still found nothing in the way of consistency. And even Jeff Hurst seems to be struggling, though he's on the verge of a club post-war scoring record. Now West Ham face a Manchester City side committed still to the League Cup and Europe, and 5th in the First Division. And nobody seems to relish this challenge more than their magnificent all-purpose player, Colin Bell. He came as top scorer with 18 goals, but he's often doing his best work at the very back. The referee today is Mike Kirkhoff of Oxfordshire. And the crowd has braved snow and cold, and when the young Manchester City mascot has had his moment of glory, we'll be away.
So West Ham then to kick off, defending the goal to our left. Manchester City in the light blue shirts, defending the goal on our right. And with this snow overnight in London, it's meant it's very skatey on top, but Joe Mercer was saying before the game that he thought that it might in fact increase the pace of the game, particularly early on, with the ball skidding along the surface. Redknapp, and away by Tommy Booth. There'll be some difficult ricochets and men keeping their balance, and almost there Oakes putting Hurst through, and Hurst, I would have thought, so surprised by it that he really didn't take full advantage of it. And that must have been a scare for young Joe Corrigan too. Bell to Doyle. Manchester City, who've had quite a good time in London this season, they won 3-0 at Tottenham and took a point from Arsenal at Highbury. Now it's Francis Lee to Bowyer. Bonds trying to get him to go outside him and getting in well. Oakes. And Peters beating his man. Twice, looking for Brooking, and Doyle cutting that out well. Now Peters again. Book in very quickly indeed. And two men, of course, who've done so much for Manchester City. There in the director's box on the left in the light raincoat, Malcolm Allison, former skipper of West Ham, and 2 away from him, of course, Joe Mercer. Bobby Moore. Best. And Peters looking for Bonds, who's made an overlap. And there's Bonds to Best. Brooking and Hurst are ahead of him, and Peters! And well covered indeed by Glyn Pardo from Peters. A really menacing moment there by West Ham. And now Brooking to Hurst. Redknapp outside him. Here's Redknapp. Lampard to follow it in. And Bell to cut it out. And Summerby. A chance for him to slip Lampard, but here's a good piece of work by Howe, who saw the danger and came back. Bowyer to Young. And a goal kick. Colin Bell, a man who never stops running, thinking and working the whole time. Peters to Moore, to Hurst. Flicked off very neatly for Peters. And Book standing in the way again. Peters. Looking for Hurst, and Hurst in turn finding Redknapp. Can he turn it back? No, he can't. Brooking and Best were waiting hopefully. He was put under pressure by Tony Book. What an incredible player this Book is. 35 years of age, when a lot of people are phasing their way out of First Division football. He seems to be going better than ever. Moore, Bonds. Having watched Bowyer well, he's now giving vent to his attacking inclinations. Billy Bonds, a little one clipped towards the near post. Brooking! Very good work by Bonds. The sort of move that we come to describe as typical West Ham football, with that clipped little centre towards the near post, and Brooking almost screwing it back in. Bell to Oakes. Oakes to Young. And Bonds covering his skipper Moore. Now Moore. Redknapp. And even when Redknapp tries his luck on this side of the field, he finds Doyle there close at hand with him, but a corner to West Ham. Bell getting it away. Only as far as Redknapp, so he can pump it back again. And Brooking well up, Brooking there again, and Tony Book bringing it away for Manchester City to Summerby. Lee. Book. Summerby. And Bonds with Bowyer. Back to Ferguson. Bobby Moore. Howe laying it off neatly for Peters to send Hurst away, and Booth with him, and that could have been dangerous. That really could have been dangerous, with Corrigan sprinting out of his goal. No margin for error. Moore, and now Oakes. Bell, tipped off very delicately there for Oakes. A 1-2, but too hard for Bell from Neil Young. Best to Lampard, to Howe. Slipped just a little too much for him. Gave Manchester City the chance to come in, and here's Francis Lee. And a goal by Lee! Slithering in just by that post. The slightest suspicion possibly that Ferguson may have been a little slow getting down to it, but a really cruel ground shot. The sort that goalkeepers hate in these sort of circumstances, and that puts Manchester City 1 up with 31 minutes gone. Lee again, to Bell, to Summerby. In now for Neil Young to hammer one. Here's Summerby, who did so much to lay it on, and Neil Young in the front of our picture now. Young, who can of course be absolutely devastating when he gets a ball on his left foot. Bowyer with the throw. Leaving it, in fact, for Neil Young. Lee coming towards him. Handball, say West Ham, but before there's only too many protests, the referee blows the whistle for half-time. A first half without the trainer once on, which is a credit to both sides on this difficult surface. A good sporting spirit, and Manchester City then leading by this one goal scored by Francis Lee after 31 minutes. Still to come on the big match programme, highlights from two other First Division games, but the half-time score here at Upton Park: West Ham United 0, Manchester City 1. More soccer for you in just a couple of moments. So Manchester City then get us away in this second half, this goal up, and certainly so far showing no signs whatsoever of any test of their stamina after that midweek game against Manchester United. That really could have been a question mark against them today. Now Pardo to Corrigan. That ball might have gone anywhere the way they were playing there, but finally Booth pumping it to safety. Number 5 for Manchester City. The crowd desperately trying to rally West Ham now. And a foul given against Manchester City for West Ham. Bonds to take it. Men streaming into that penalty area, among them Peters to flick it, but it won't come through to Redknapp. Bobby Howe. To Bonds, to Howe, just a little too tight, and Pardo gets it away. Pardo, Best, to Bonds, who's got room to turn it in. Peters having it punched off his head. Lampard trying to balloon it back. Punched away again to Redknapp, and saved beautifully, and then shot by Peters into the arms of Corrigan. Superb work in that goal by young Joe Corrigan, who seems to be hurt as well. That really was a brilliant piece of work by Corrigan. And certainly the most aggressive attacking play we've seen so far today from West Ham. And now Book cutting it out before Peters can get to it. West Ham's ball. No, he's given it to Manchester City. Bell finding Lee. And now Young. Oakes. Mike Doyle. To Tony Book. And now Summerby. Young, oh, completely missing his kick. That could have been dangerous for West Ham. Bonds to sprint away now for West Ham. Best on his right. And Oakes, having done so much work up at the front, covering well. Best trying to get in. Much more determined play now by West Ham in this second half. Best again, and determined work at the back there by Colin Bell as well, finding Neil Young. Lee over on the left. Finding Bell. And now for Lee again, and a ricochet off Lampard. That really was going. And it's not away yet. Bowyer trying to get in. Pardo pumping it in again. Bell to rise for it. And find Neil Young. And Bonds beating everybody. To Redknapp. To Peters. First time turning it back, Hurst going in, and Booth beating him in the air. Now Young. Tremendous spirit of adventure here this afternoon, as Stevenson shows worthwhile caution by turning it then back to Ferguson. Now Moore. Howe to Lampard. Peters aiming to get behind the defence there, but Tony Book losing it to Redknapp. And a corner. Stevenson going up for this one. Right into that far side of the penalty area. Looking at the near post. Peters! And Best! No! No! Will Stevenson do it? No! And now Manchester City coming away. Cut out by Moore. Claim for offside, and Best is offside. Back to Ferguson, perhaps to launch another West Ham assault. Hurst away, watched by Booth, coming only as far as Redknapp. Peters going in, punched off his head again. Moore beating Lee, finding Redknapp. And he's got another chance. He should have put that one across, but it's a corner. Only Stevenson staying back. Howe's gone up, Bonds has gone up. Here comes the corner, but a poor one. Moore cutting it out for West Ham. Really beginning to put pressure on Manchester City now. And the whistle's gone for offside. Moore, who's got to urge his men on to keep this pressure on Manchester City now. But a really rousing start to this second half. Lampard. Hurst to flick it in, but Brooking can't get to it. Oakes is there. Moore, good control on his body. And Brooking is surprisingly allowed to get to that one. Oh! Oakes trying desperately to stop and just stopping in time. Bell for Manchester City. To Lee. And Bowyer! There it is! Ian Bowyer! With the West Ham defence absolutely split asunder. Very, very good ball indeed. That made it for Bowyer to score his 10th goal of the season. And he's always been threatening to do that, staying there in the centre of the penalty area. So Manchester City go into a 2-goal lead. And for all their pressure so far in this second half, it means that West Ham have an awful lot to do now. Fine ball by Lee that made it for Bowyer. 25 minutes to go now. And Corrigan with the goal kick for City. Hurst to Brooking. And now Bonds. And a free kick given to West Ham. Bonds being bundled all the while by Pardo and by Bowyer. Out to Bobby Moore. And Lampard to drive it against the bar. What an astonishing shot that was by Frank Lampard. What a shot by Lampard. He's got good reason, of course, to remember Manchester City. He made his first appearance in the West Ham side against Manchester City 2 years ago in this game. Lampard. Bowyer off again, but the whistle has gone. And a free kick given against Manchester City. Hurst being bundled in the back by Booth. Clyde Best. And a corner. Stevenson gone into the penalty area, as you can see at the bottom left of the picture now. And Peters going in there, finding it punched off his head again by Corrigan. And Connor, the substitute, is on now for Manchester City. Neil Young has gone off. Colin Bell. And here is Connor. And that wasn't so far from the far post either. David Connor, the man who very nearly went to Tottenham last season. Peters finding Best. Now Peters again. And Booth penalised again. He knows there's no point in arguing with the referee, and he goes back very quickly because West Ham very often take these very quickly indeed. Still not away yet. Connor following it out, but Best finding Stevenson. Now Lampard, pumping it back again. Hurst. Lee to Bell, and now to Oakes. Francis Lee. Good aggressive run, and a shot that in any case was going wide, but Ferguson wanted to make sure, but it's a corner then to Manchester City. Mike Summerby with the corner. Book shadowing Best. I don't think Book is really going into a position where he can threaten West Ham from this. And into the goal by Bowyer! Ian Bowyer's second goal of the game, Manchester City's third. Well, I think he must be a little surprised. There's Summerby, who put the corner very accurately onto Bowyer's head. But I think Bowyer must have been a little surprised to find that his header from that range went through that crowded penalty area to put Manchester City 3 into the lead. And remember that when Manchester City came to Tottenham, they won by this exact margin, so they really have got a liking for London. Add to that, of course, the draw that they got against Arsenal at Highbury. Bonds. Lampard. Clyde Best. Brooking. Summerby. to David Connor. And Peters well back. Lampard. And Booth cutting it out before Hurst can get to it. Lee prepared to try the clever stuff now, finding Bell. And then Oakes. Pardo. And Bonds to Ferguson. And one man obviously who is watching very intently in the centre of your picture in the front row, Sir Alf Ramsey, watching the likes of Lee and Bell, Moore, Hurst and Peters with Portugal in mind on Wednesday. And those of you who have colour sets, the light now is fading so badly here at West Ham that we're going over to black and white. Still Redknapp, and a corner. He wasn't given very much change by Tony Book, that's for sure. Here's Bowyer, man who scored 2 of the goals, making it 11 this season for him. In his first season, that's really something. Lampard. Howe. Redknapp pumping it straight away to Best. And another corner. Best trying to juggle it on his body, and nobody in the Manchester City defence was prepared to give him time to do it. Another corner. And another clearance. Redknapp driving it back, a ricochet, and good work by Corrigan. That was a particularly good save because there was a ricochet. Lee going on to find Bowyer. And against the crossbar from Connor. And now Lee, just squirming past that post. Well, it's as well that they make the crossbars pretty strong here. That's 2 shots, one at either end, that are really hammered against the bar. Lampard and Connor. Doyle to Corrigan. Lampard leaving it for Bobby Moore. Now Lampard. Hurst. And there simply seems to be no way through this Manchester City defence. Perhaps Howe now might find something. Finding Clyde Best. And he really has had no chance at all today against Pardo. Back to Bobby Moore. Book. Bell. Oakes with Lee on his left. Here's Lee. And now Oakes again. To Colin Bell. Doyle. And there it is! By Doyle! to make it number 4. And Ferguson really didn't seem to go to it. I think a lot of people were surprised the ball came out so quickly. So number 4 for Manchester City. And what a return it is for Malcolm Allison, the coach at Manchester City, who was, of course, skipper here once at West Ham. To Best. Oakes. What a game Alan Oakes has had. And there goes the final whistle. A really professional performance by Manchester City to the last degree. 2 goals by number 11, Ian Bowyer. 1 by Francis Lee. And 1 by Mike Doyle. That makes it, there's Doyle, the man who really underlined Manchester City's superiority with that late goal. So the full-time score here at Upton Park after a magnificent second half. West Ham 0, Manchester City 4.
So West Ham well beaten. They know they didn't play particularly well. But in our analysis spot today, we want to do something a little different. Instead of concentrating on the game as a whole, we want to concentrate on 2 players that everybody's talking about, this fabulous Manchester City pair, Colin Bell and Francis Lee, and to get Geoff Hurst to give his opinion of them in the context of the World Cup. With Geoff Hurst is Jimmy Hill.
Well, Jeff, before we talk about those 2 players, first of all, just a brief word about you. You took some stick in the papers this morning. Do you think it was fair?
I think so. I didn't play particularly well yesterday, and I think what they had to say in the paper was fair.
Well, that's obviously very fair of you, but you've been having some trouble with your back lately. How much has this affected your form?
It's very hard to say, actually. It's there all the time. It's getting much better. We're having treatment twice a day for the past 2 or 3 weeks, and it is getting better, but it is there. But it's very hard to say how much it is troubling me.
You say it is getting better. I mean, supposing England on Wednesday night, would that affect your form for playing for England?
No, I've been playing for West Ham throughout this period. It might be affecting my form. I don't really know, but I've been playing for West Ham at club level with the back.
Well, enough of Geoff Hurst just for a moment. If we can now turn to the 2 players, Colin Bell and Francis Lee. I spoke after the game yesterday. They're both obviously very happy at that wonderful result that they got in London. And I spoke to Francis Lee about Colin Bell's performance, what he thought of him as a player, what he was like to play with, what is the real Colin Bell.
Well, he's got a lot of ability, and he makes such long runs from behind, and he's always up there with you, and he's always back in defence. With me being the most forward player, he always gets up alongside me, and he always seems to be back in the defence as well, so he's not a bad fault.
Jeff, Colin Bell is the leading scorer at the moment in the First Division, 18 goals. He gets the same rate of scoring as a Greaves or yourself or anybody like that, but he has a different game. He gets back and defends. Would this help you? Would this be a better game for you to play, or is he just 1 in a million or something?
I think he's 1 in a million to an extent. This fantastic lung power he has. He does seem to be spoiling things a bit for us strikers in being a midfield player and getting more than the strikers are. But he's got this fantastic lung power, marvellous.
Yeah, but one man can't be that much supreme or more supreme than anybody else in terms of stamina.
Well, he does seem to be to me. I mean, if you analyse him, you see he's up 1 minute with Francis Lee back helping the defence. And he can make these long runs, 60 or 70 yards, and doesn't seem to bother him.
Well, I must say in yesterday's game he did exactly that, and we've now got an opportunity to look at the places that he got on the field yesterday. Here he is, first of all, there he is, heading away a corner just outside his own 6-yard box. And again, Harry Redknapp puts this crossover. Who is it? But again, Colin Bell, and a very accurate header out. Look at the way he's sprinting off there, ready to attack. He's good in the middle of the field, and he's able to resist challenges. He's pretty strong, like that kind of thing, there. And he's also, at moments of crisis, there's Harry Redknapp, he's away, he's 6 yards from his own goal line. Who is that stopping him? Giving away a corner, but preventing a cross, but Colin Bell. But what I like is the way he accelerates here. Look at him running up there from defence, getting a bit muddled up with it, but just watch his skill from now on. A ball out to the right wing, just a moment's hesitation while he supports the fullback there. Now just watch this lovely bit of skill round Bobby Moore, delicate ball laid off, and that beautiful shot there which scrapes past the far post. That is a very unusual footballer.
I think he's unusual in as much as he's got this lung power, marvellous.
He's also got a bit of skill to go on the end.
He's got as much, if not more skill than everybody else as well. But he's different in the fact that he can run all day, he seems to.
There is a school of thought that says he doesn't play as well for England or do this for England right through a match as he does for Manchester City. Would you agree with that on what you've seen from yesterday and playing with him for England?
I think initially this was true, up until about 2 or 3 games ago for England. But this is very, very hard when a new player comes into the side. You feel a bit nervous. I had this same thing happen to me playing for England early on the first 4 or 5 games. But he's overcome this now, and we'll be seeing performances for England as he does for Manchester City.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful news for us for Wednesday night and, of course, for Mexico. But what about his mate, Francis Lee, who on yesterday's ground also was very devastating? And to turn the tables round the other way, at the end of the game, we asked Colin Bell what his opinion was of Francis Lee.
Together for England.
Oh, well, it's easy playing with Francis as far as I'm concerned. You just give him the ball and let him do the rest.
Francis, you got the ball for the first goal. What about that? Were you always going to put it in the net, or did you just make it?
No, I was looking for something to do with it, and I just finished up. I went round in a circle, and then suddenly I saw the goal, so I just hit it.
Well, there's Francis Lee smiling all over his face. But this business of giving him the ball and letting him get on with it, which he seems to do, and just strike straight for goal, would you see that this is an unusual quality in his play?
This is his best quality, really. He's a very, very positive player. He gets hold of the ball and he goes at people very, very quickly. And he's very, very strong and courageous. And if people can't knock him off the ball, and he can take 2 or 3 on, and if things go well for him, as they did yesterday, he's a world beater.
Yeah, the ground suited him yesterday because of his size. I mean, he was well balanced on that slippery top, would you say?
I don't know whether it suited him. I think he suited the pitch. You know, he made the pitch suit him.
Well, just
really.
Let's look at the way in which he made not only the pitch suit him, but this particular goal for himself. He picks up the ball here. He gives Bobby an uncomfortable time weaving backwards and forwards. There's Bobby Moore against him. Now, as we slow it down, you can see the feints here in slow motion. He pretends to kick it, doesn't, goes on again. And at this point, he told me afterwards that he didn't quite know what he was going to do with the ball. But suddenly, he finds that gap. And there's that shot. People say it was slow. It's bounced twice. But it really has picked up a bit of pace as well, going on that slippery surface. As dangerous a player as there is in the country, would you say, at the moment?
Definitely on that performance, easily the most. When he's on his game, he's easily the most dangerous player.
This style, this Francis Lee's surge that we've seen a few times for England and for Manchester City, of him going forward, you know, is this an unusual thing? Is it a natural ability that he's always had, or what would it?
I think it's just a characteristic that only happens to Francis, really.
Well, we get a chance to see his cheek there, that lovely back heel pass.
Well, he's a very cocky player as well, isn't he?
There he is, streaking in again.
This is another one of his talents, of course. He's very cocky and...
He was a winger to start with, you see. I think this helps him in that kind of situation. He's used to being on a touchline and hurdling away. And look at the way he goes in to resist that tackle to win the
very
corner.
strong, very courageous.
How much does courage play a part? The kind of courage that he shows here. Watch, there are 3 men.
Well, you've
Well,
got to
I'll
have
ask you
it,
this
especially
in a
now.
minute. Look at it now.
3
Look at
players
it.
around him. He's still going, he's still going.
Knocking Bobby Moore flat on his back. Now look at his face at this point. He's not griping about being held. He's annoyed that he lost the ball in the end. There's a lovely, delicate skill. A back heel, pass, trap. And watch how he builds up this one. Again, this surge forward, wanting to go for goal all the while. And in the end, a delicate ball off for Colin Bell.
Very good.
You looking forward to playing with him on Wednesday night?
Well, I hope I'm in the side. You feel easy the way those two are playing, I would think, at the moment.
Yeah, to play with them.
Play with them, yes.
Yeah.
Not against them.
What about this, the England forward line generally? I mean, do you see the Bell and Lee influence giving us a better chance in the World Cup, something really outstanding?
Definitely. I still think, as I said earlier, that Colin's best performances for England is still to come. And even Francis, and their understanding in an England side, if it can be matched as it is in the Manchester City side, then England are due for an even better performance.
Well, Jeff, let's hope that on Wednesday night that you are in the side, and that with those 2 players you join in the kind of movements that we've seen here on the big match today. Good luck to England if you play, but good luck to them anyway if you don't. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you.
Well, whatever else they did in the game, Bell and Lee combined to make for Ian Bowyer one of the best goals that we've seen on the big match for some time, and it buried West Ham's hopes. Just watch the way the Manchester City players strike out a defence. There's the end of a toe which gets the ball for them, and see the way the build-up comes. While that moment of disgust is shown there, here's Bell winning the ball and carrying it through the middle of the field. Now watch this lovely pass out to Lee on the wing, his old pal. There's the double act. And Lee, although it's in slow motion there, is really galloping up that wing and really stretching the ball to the far end of the field as quickly as it can be got there. Now he just has a moment there, that's the only pause in the move, to look up, and he sees Bowyer in the middle, moving in. And a lot of people blamed Ferguson for that goal, but I blame those two fullbacks for not getting tighter with Bowyer than they are there. Some people said he was inside the 6-box. You can see he's a yard outside it when he heads the ball. And I think there's some doubt as to whether Ferguson should have come and got that ball or not, but there's no doubt that he should have been marked.
Well, our next match on the programme today takes us to that high-scoring game between Coventry City and Spurs at Highfield Road. The pictures come from ATV, the commentator is Hugh Johns, and Spurs are wearing the white shirts.
O'Rourke getting just a touch forward, playing Want into trouble. Pratt in difficulties there. And a chance for Martin! Now, Machin! There it is! Ernie Machin, number 4. Ernie Machin scores his first goal of the season. So about 10 minutes of the first half gone. Ernie Machin makes it 1-0 to Coventry. And Spurs really have themselves to blame for the mistake that set the situation up. Locklear, shocking! Oh, dear, dear, dear. Coop for Coventry. Through ball, aim for O'Rourke. Pratt took it. Now it's Knowles to Jennings. Barry climbing up Chibber's back and producing the automatic free kick. Alan Mullery. Perryman wasn't really watching, but he got the ball. Now Mullery. Gilzine. Greaves. He's offside again. And Jimmy saying, did you get a good picture then? That's the fellow that is used to snapshots, Jimmy Greaves. So what's that? That's 5 times he's been caught offside, I think. Here's Clements for Coventry. O'Rourke through the middle, asking for it. That's not a bad ball to him either. Back for Hunt. Ooh, that was a tackle that started so late he could have started last Saturday. Number 7, Neil Johnson. One number 7 on the other. This is the injured one, Ernie Hunt. And there's the other number 7 having a quiet word from the referee, Neil Johnson. It's his first game of the season. And Clements with the free kick. Martin a touch forward, Gilzine, and that's O'Rourke! Oh, what a great goal! John O'Rourke and Alan Gilzine walking out of the picture angry. O'Rourke, his first goal for Coventry. So it's a free kick. Jimmy Greaves going over to take it. Chap who can bend a ball pretty accurately. He's got a swirling breeze behind him. Well, Roy Barry wasn't quite sure whether Johnson was tight behind him. I doubt whether Bill Glazier shouted loud enough for him. Those are occasions when goalkeepers must command their area entirely. Really shout and tell their players who's behind them, what they're to do. So Jimmy Greaves, having taken the free kick from the left of the box, now takes the corner from the right of the box. On the goal line is Mike England, who could cause a little bit of trouble. There's England. And he scored! Mike England's got it! Curled off the top of his head. Well, what a turn up for the book. Mike England's first goal of the season.
But that goal still left Spurs plenty to do in the second half.
Machin ahead to Hunt. O'Rourke. Good ball back for Coop. Martin in the middle looking for the head. England there, chance now! There it is, Gibson! Gibson! 3-1 to Coventry. Oh, Gibson having himself a real game today. Must come right, surely. Barry. Coop. An easy interception. Got to start all over again now. But it's Spurs with Pratt to Knowles. Mullery open on the right. Gilzine. for Want coming in from behind. Want being chased by Cars, still limping. Ooh, Clement's playing him into trouble. It's Pettiman. Gilzine! That's a great goal. What a beautiful goal by Alan Gilzine.
And that's how it finished, a 3-2 defeat for Spurs. With so much good action still to come on the programme, time for only one letter, and it's a very moving letter that I've had this week from Mrs. Moira Johnson of Fulham. She tells me she nearly lost her daughter Elsie with a serious heart condition 10 years ago. And after a long spell in hospital, she still has to lead a very quiet life. She was 21 yesterday, and when asked what she would most like for a birthday present, she said, most of all, a word from Geoff Hurst.
Well, Elsie, I hope you had a marvellous party and that your health continues to improve.
Duly obliging, the word from Geoff Hurst, and now it's time for us to go into our last match today, again involving a London First Division club, Chelsea. Their visit to Manchester United and Old Trafford. The pictures come from Granada Television, the commentator is Gerald Sinstadt, and the pictures are in black and white.
Osgood, Hollins rather. Strong run by Hollins, and he's got quite a shot. Stepney did well to get his body behind that. It was a fine effort by John Hollins. What a difference we're seeing in this Chelsea side from the Chelsea team which played so disappointingly at Main Road earlier in the season. Kidd, Charlton, Burns. Robbie Stiles is in the penalty area. Best. Run off it, two men covering him. Dempsey and Harris, and this is Harris with the ball. Too far for Osgood. Sadler. Edwards coming out to the touchline. Charlton, back again to Sadler. Cut out by Macready. And a chance here for Hutchinson. Charlie Cook. Houseman. Hollins going outside him on his left. Charlton is across covering Hollins. This is Hollins. And a fine attempt, and it's a goal. It's put in by Hutchinson. Hutchinson puts Chelsea one in front. Away by Ure. Great bit of acceleration by Best to take it off Harris's toe and set Charlton away. Edwards, good pass from Charlton. Burns. Burns tries one, but he's wide. Francis Burns had a go there as Best ran across the edge of the penalty area, perhaps trying to provide the decoy. Houseman. Hudson just inside him. Hudson wins the tackle. Hollins. And into the net by Hutchinson. It was Cook's shot originally. Charlie Cook's shot and slid over the line by Hutchinson. Burns.
Now the second half.
Hudson challenging him. They all tackle in this Chelsea side. Play on. Charlton. Bonetti body right behind it, even though it was deflected. Bobby Charlton. Edwards for United. Dose of Osgood's own medicine. Edwards again for Charlton. Sadler. Nice ball into his stride. Pull back for Kidd, but away by Dempsey. Sadler. Hollins. No fancy stuff. Trouble threatening, so away into touch. Sadler with a throw-in. Stretford end, really in full voice. Yours long lob away by Webb. Charlton! Sadler. Charlton again. What a shot! Bobby Charlton firing from both barrels. Ryan. Edwards. Ryan going to help him. Styles. Best. Burns. Burns again. Aston. Aston still. Best. Put it past. Chelsea defenders seem to think there'd been a handball there anyway. Hudson, Osgood. Lovely bit of work by Osgood. Hudson with space now. Cook out on the right touchline. There's Cook, number 7. Osgood going in the middle. Good ball too, Osgood. Cook, and a fine shot! Hudson! What a great goal! No, offside, I think. Being disallowed for something anyway.
Good win for Chelsea though, 2-0. That's all from the big match today. Hope very much that you've enjoyed it. Last bit of action. You remember a few weeks ago we gave you a pass counting exercise when Arsenal scored against Derby. How many passes now before Manchester City scored their 4th goal against West Ham? You count them.
Book, Bell. Oakes with Lee on his left. Here's Lee. And now Oakes again. To Colin Bell. Doyle. And there it is! By Doyle!